Thank you, Anna. I'm really happy, and I hope I live up to this in the short intro that you made. I would just sort of like to first say that I'm very happy to be here, and I will try to do this presentation sort of as my own story, but as well try to contextualize it within both like the history that happened here and with everything that we have going on right now, and sort of try to follow this path of how we emerged as a crew, as a community, as a group of young people that really are expressing themselves in something that seems so and can sometimes seem very trivial, but is actually very, very deeply integrated within us and within what we think is our identity. And even though identities have this multitude dimensions within themselves, it really helps one realize their place in the world and sort of understand the world at the same time and decontextualize it through arts and through movement and through dedicating sort of to music and to yourself. And then all of this, of course, not doing it alone and not doing it individually, because I think that if we do something strictly individually, we sort of alienate ourselves from both the community and like the little world that we live in. So yeah, I would like to start with this. So thank you. My name is Dženita Hasečić. I'm currently a master's student of actually international relations and diplomacy at University of Sarajevo. However, my interest deeply, truly is peace studies. And the reason why I sort of wanted to and saw a way to merge these two disciplines, this concept of theory that I did in university and the praxis that I have been doing with engaging within youth and dance community and working with young people, is something that I think really helped me create this like a link, like a different type of worldview, I guess. Maybe not exactly different, but just maybe a bit more clear to understand everything that is happening like around us, and to sort of help young people find themselves as well. So I would like to start this presentation by like 3 points. The first one would be regarding hip-hop culture as such. Now, we know that hip-hop culture as such emerged out of a certain socio-political context that existed. So African-American community, Latin community within the United States of America, following the whole Jim Crow era, following the whole 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment that they had. All of this sort of created a real and existing structural violence that is still present within that society. But what hip-hop culture did is that within this context of deprived communities that had very low funding for public schools, for any type of extracurricular activities for kids, hip-hop culture sort of emerged as this pure will of young people to express themselves about what is happening to them, about what is their situation, and sort of even helped at certain points to downgrade the levels of crime, because as it seems to be, young people tend to always question things, and this is something that is very important for young people, and it is very important that we allow them to do, because like this is actually what hip-hop culture has brought to young people, and both in the United States, but then with globalization and everything, actually to all of the world, and even to all our small Balkans and Sarajevo and Bosnia and Herzegovina. And now when it comes to like my country, Bosnia and Herzegovina, like Adna mentioned, we have one of the most complicated political systems that exists. Currently, we have 3 presidents. There was a war in the 1990s, an aggression on Bosnia and Herzegovina following the dissolution of former Socialist Republic of Yugoslavia. And this really left a mark on everyone, especially if we think back to even World War I starting in Sarajevo, then World War II happening here, the anti-fascist partisan movement that happened, that emerged, and then the Dayton Peace Agreement that happened here, and that brought upon this notion of constituent people. So in such a small country with a very small population of people that have lived throughout the centuries, with a multitude of religions, a multitude of ethnicities, so ranging from all three Abrahamic religions, so both Islam, Christianity, Orthodox Christianity, Judaism. This is something that sort of, as I think many know, Sarajevo is sort of called like the Jerusalem of Europe. And this like mash of different cultures and different, even historically built identities through all of these like socially constructed, both religion, both nation, both ethnicity, sort of led to a very perplexing situation with the introduction of new economic model that came after the dissolution of Yugoslavia. And it all sort of allowed this former nomenclatura of elites that existed within the previous political system to sort of really use nationalism in such a way that they should be applauded how well it was done to divide people. I mean, extremely well. Books have been written about this. So in such a society, we still have young people living here. We have like lines of division within Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina, Republika Srpska, District Brčko. These are all like regional units within Bosnia and Herzegovina. So not to continue too much about Bosnia's and Herzegovina's political conceptualization, I just try to like contextualize like what we have here and like what we sort of used as a tool for our own beginning and for our own like for our own first connections that we started building together. So Fresh Generation as such started as a group of young people from high school that really, really loved to dance and really loved music. It's as simple as that. When young people don't have a lot, they tend to turn to each other and they tend to bond on mutual interests. And this is something that has actually helped us sort of create the crew that started way back in 2009 and 2010. We started out first as sort of applying to this competition that was on TV. It was like a reality TV competition, but for dance. So yeah, we had that, and we applied to it, and there already we met a lot of people from the entirety of Bosnia and Herzegovina, young people from even smaller communities that also existed and that also loved the same things as we do. And this really helped brought up a lot of popularity and a lot of attention to us as a crew and as young people. Of course, as flattering as this is for high schoolers, it was awful for us and our like teachers, because they didn't like this at all, with all the leaving classes and etc. But this beginning for us was really something that sort of helped us helped build like first stepping stones. This popularity, I mean, that we gathered on this TV show was something that helped us build these stones towards actually trying to, and eventually in 2010 already, starting a small dance school here in Sarajevo. Everyone kept telling to us that this is something that we sort of should do, that this is something that is like a natural step for us. And that's how we started our dance crew first, and then dance school as such. Mind you, at this time, we were barely of age of 18 years old. And at this beginning, within these first few years, we tried to register a community organization, which we did. We started booking our first, even though we had previously, but like bigger sort of jobs in industry and etc. And of course, regional travel was huge at this time, because during the 2010s, we were, of course, all going to college. And this sort of brought a lot of, how do I say this, like a lot of interest for us to travel to our neighboring countries and to actually meet young people from Zagreb. This is in Croatia, from Belgrade in Serbia, from Ljubljana in Slovenia, from all of these former Yugoslavian republics, to meet young people that actually tend to love the same things as we do, that dance to the same music that we do, and that sort of are building this mutual worldview that we have, at least like a stepping stone towards building one. So, yes. So, one of the first things that was sort of very, very evident within this first era of our existence was actually the fact that all of our identities seemed to be, at least presented as such, as like clashing with each other. They were constantly being presented to us as those identities that should be exclusive of each other. And this is something that when young people, when you are 18, 19, you're traveling to a country, neighboring country, that actually all the media and all the narratives in your country and all the political stuff that you hear is constantly about all the negatives that have happened, and sort of keeps perpetuating this narrative of otherness, even though that is basically a person that's living 200 miles like from you. We are like a plane line that's like very, very close. And living within this post-conflict society sort of made us realize that this concept of truth as such is existent, but however, there is a multitude of them from each of the sides. And sort of this truth, of course, is something that is like, again, socially constructed, and as such influence, again, all of our identities as young people and as young dancers. And I think we all remember when we were first traveling to some of the neighboring countries, even our parents telling to us like to be careful, we never know what might happen. But as youth is, you don't care about these things and you do what you want to do, which is perfect, and which is something that I think everyone should do. Don't trust what is being like constantly narrated to you, because there is a reason that it has to be constantly narrated to you in such a dissective, negative, excluding way, because otherwise, if it wasn't for all of that, maybe people would sooner realize a truth, one that would be an encompassing one for everyone. So this concept of identity, even though like I know today identity is such a multidimensional thing. So I'm a woman, I'm a daughter, I'm an artist, I'm a human. Starting off, you were a kid from one city going to a neighboring country, and there was a war less than 20 years ago that was very devastating, that led to like a biggest siege of a capital after World War II. And that was sort of like the impact of it was everlasting, even within our parents, within what they carried, and even within like everything that we sort of felt, even going to those countries. But something that like immediately was evident to everyone as we were traveling at first, and we were meeting young people from neighboring cities, was this concept of community as such, and this concept of community that sort of is a building block, but is also like a safe place for everyone, because it sort of immediately offers at least one thing that is mutual for all of us at that certain point. And this was love for a certain type of music, love for a certain type of culture. And of course, very, very important, this competitive aspect of it, because when we were traveling at first regionally, these were mostly underground regional hip hop battles and breaking battles. And they sort of allowed for this, at least for this competitive side of each of the young people to bring like the best that you can to present yourself. And of course, as young people, you want to prove yourself. You really want to like sort of speak your truth, but in a way that's very personal, in a way that's very emotional, in a way that's then again very bodily sensational, because as we know, dance is present within the body, and as such sort of seeks from you to be present within yourself. And of course, connected to music, connected to young people from neighboring countries that you have been told are your enemies, your worst enemies. But you actually go there and you have like some of the best time of your life. You dance, you listen to music, they love the same things as you do. You have an after party later, you don't sleep. This is, I think back on these days as like, something that I would never regret. It's something that I hold so dearly to us and to everything that we did so far. And then another aspect that I would sort of pinpoint here would be this aspect of creativity. Now, why creativity? Because I think like thinking out of the box, there's no box. And even like I will try to connect this aspect of creativity with now my studies in international relations and in peace studies. John Paul Lederlach has this book of in his book has this concept of moral imagination. And this concept of moral imagination is sort of something that is like seeking a creative way to solve a conflict. So creativity is key here. So conflict doesn't necessarily has to be negative, or has to be like negatively charged and has to end up in violence. Even the word as such, and even our understanding of it as such, instantly would take us to this negative side. But this aspect of creativity is something that sort of popped in. I realized this later, like with 15 years of experience in university education and everything. But I realized how this aspect of creativity is something that first, for this conflict resolution that we have in our region, is extremely important, because there isn't anything that we can do in life that is not political. Everything is political. And even if we think that we are out of politics, we don't follow it, we're totally apolitical, we don't care about it. No, politics deals with us. You just are not aware of it. You become aware. Wake up. So the creativity of like conflict resolution, and then creativity of hip hop culture as such. Now, why creativity of hip hop culture as such? Because this aspect of self-expression, especially within like freestyle hip hop dance, it seeks from you personally incredible vulnerability. I mean, just entering and dancing on a stage with in front of like 100, 200, 300 young people from the region that love the same thing as you feel like all the pressure of the world on you. But that is when all of these bodily functions that you have been training, all of this presence that you have been training within yourself, and all of this creativity that you have been using from the hip hop culture sort of just lightly connects to actually creativity as such being a way of conflict resolution, or at least being a first stepping stone towards young people realizing or at least critically observing what they have been told previously. And the third notion I would put here was, you know, like when we would say like hip hop, everyone would be like, ah, hardcore, like, oh, yeah. But we had a play with words on this one, and it's sort of on hardcore. Why such? Because at the end of the day, you do it out of love, for the culture, for the music, for at the end of the day, also a bit selfishly, what it offers to you. Because I think for young people, it can offer such a different perspective and make them see through all of these enchanted visions that have been put in front of their eyes, and to actually like experience critical theory through art, to realize and to sort of unveil everything that has been told to them. And I just have to say, oh yeah, now these sort of three aspects of community, creativity, and hardcore are something that we value within our philosophy as Fresh Generation today, because yeah. And I would now like to sort of just briefly look back on like what we have sort of been doing and what this has led to. Living in a small country as Bosnia and Herzegovina is, it sort of allows you to delve into each of and all of the aspects that sort of dance and art as such allows. So I put here underground as an underground hip hop culture and all of these regional festivals in all of our neighboring countries that helped us connect with young people from regional countries that are today our friends, and that we cannot wait to organize a workshop in our city, or for them to organize a battle in their city, and for us to gather people, and then we go there and we share and we do what we love. And I think that is the point of human life, of young people, of trying to build something that you actually care for and trying to maintain it for younger people to come. As for the aspect of industry, this is something that we benefited a bit from, because not having a lot of huge amount of dance crews in Bosnia and Herzegovina and in Sarajevo allows you to be invited to a multitude of video shootings, allows you to, we even did a thing for Eurovision here. This is this big contest of like songs here. Yeah, it's a whole thing. So and we did a lot of videos for local artists. We even did some for international ones. We did a lot of commercial. I hate this part about industry, but just sort of to tell you that like this, even though it started out very underground, and we know like hip hop and underground, it has this like revolt vibe of it, like not wanting to be a part of something that's commercial, still allowed for us and to give an opportunity to our young people to actually have some like, again, stepping stone, but some security within this dance, and sort of to get something back that actually could be something, money that they could use to, again, travel, to, again, meet new people, to bring new people here. Our Fresh Generation as such has sort of evolved today, that we also go to our state, regional, and world championships. This is something that is extremely important for, of course, young people that we teach today, because this competitive spirits that we used to seek out in the region, and that we had to overcome that fear of like both our parents and what has been happening, for them today is very easy. And it sort of even helps me be more hopeful for the future, because looking back, I see how, first, how much time has passed, but then again, how much things have actually moved forward, even though we all tend to be pessimistic and nothing is happening. But yes, things have moved forward. And for the final point here, I wanted to speak about theater, because this is also a form that we had a great pleasure of learning how to explore and learning how to participate in it. I will try to, again, a small story time. Back in 2014, we got contacted by the Khanat from Saarbrücken. Saarbrücken is the small region that is neighboring Germany and France. And this city, Saar, and the river Saar is actually where the fighting was actually mostly happening during World War I and then World War II as well. And the priest that invited us, he had this idea of bringing young people from conflict zones together to create a theater piece that is always, even up until this day, it is built on these topics of on these topics that sort of try to question everything that we live today. So the dominant Western European culture, or just Western culture as such, the concept of sustainability as such. Can we be sustainable in this economic system that exists today? The concept of just peace and sort of conflict on the other side. The migrations that are happening, how people have been migrating through centuries, how some of this has happened through transatlantic slave trade, and how some of this is happening today with people fighting, fleeing terror and war zones from the global south and trying to get to those Western prosperity countries, but then the right-wing politicians knocking them down and being like, no, they are so different. So different, we cannot take them. But yes, all of these topics said like this, explored in the context of theater, in the context of dance, in the context of art, allow for young people to relive them through their own experiences, and allow for young people to really build empathy towards each other and towards what others have been through, and then to actually sort of relate this back to themselves and everything that has been happening. Today we sort of function as a dance school, as a community organization, as hopefully a dance studio. We are trying to find a place that could be ours 24/7, that we could use to sort of build this community further. Something that we still heavily cherish within this is this underground, of course, hip hop culture in the Balkans, because it's very pure. Everything that has this notion of tiny bit of revolt and resistance towards the status quo should forever be cherished. And especially is close to young people, because when you're growing up and when you're learning about the world, you tend to question everything, as you should. And I think arts as such, and this context of what helped us discover this for ourselves, is actually this experience that we had is what helped us so much. And what I wrote here is this third place, because I think this concept of third places that isn't work, that isn't school, that isn't home, is something that is lacking worldwide. We don't need the third place today to be just the internet. Of course, yes, it can be, but human connection is relational and physical and present and at the moment and intense, and it needs to. We need places like this for young people to gather. Bosnia and Herzegovina and Sarajevo, even still infrastructurally today, lacks a lot of these key developmental moments for young people to sort of just be themselves. And I really think that we try our best to provide this place for young people. Just to point back to the theater and because I skipped that, to theater into 2014, this is when we first met the people from Germany and people from France and the decan at Saarbrücken, Mr. Heiner Büchen, who actually invited us to this camp. And this is the first time that we explored these topics. And this, and it was the first time that we did a theater show here in Sarajevo. This was in 2014, and this was actually for, imagine this, 100th anniversary after the World War I that started here. So, as we know, it started in 1914, and in 2014 we did this theater piece that sort of explored everything that has happened here with young people from Germany, from France, from Romania, from Spain, from Bosnia and Herzegovina. Later, we had young people join in from Ghana, from even Catalonia, from Portugal, from a lot of places all over the world. It's basically a dance camp experience that usually lasts like 15 to 20 days. We have a few choreographers that work with us. Topics are, again, very heavy and intended to be such, but they tend to be made with big ease. And this is something that I then again later realized was actually the correct use of critical pedagogy. And this, so it's the concept of breaking all of these hierarchies that we would usually have in a classroom. We don't need hierarchies at all, especially not in the learning environment at all. But it really helped me realize, like, a dance school doesn't have to be me, a teacher, like ex cathedra teaching. Even though this concept never existed within hip hop culture, like that, teacher teaching, it is about sharing, it is about building together. But you know, like when you create a dance school, you have a mirror, you have young people behind you, and you're sort of teaching. But what this theater work actually helped me understand is first this critical pedagogy thing, then breaking of hierarchies in this, but also trusting young people within this relational exploration of a certain topic. Nothing, it doesn't have to be very, I'm teaching you something. I'm actually learning with you, and I'm learning from you, and we can do this together. And this was, I mean, it really was life-changing. It was life-changing for anxiety I would have when I would be going to teach young kids from like age 7 to 10. It helped me realize that I can even trust little kids from 7 to 10 to tell me what they feel to a certain song, and that we can build upon from that to these are like very big topics that I sort of brought upon my little examples in life, but this is how I sort of imagined it. Now when it comes to these aspects that we are actually sort of talking about, peace as such, we know by Galton's theory of peace that there is positive and negative. Unfortunately, in the Balkans, we are still living a negative peace. I think all over the world, it's still not a, it's an ideal, it's a utopia, but that doesn't need to mean that we're supposed to be afraid of it, or we're not supposed to believe in ourselves that we can achieve it. If we thought of it, it is possible. There's just real systemic obstacles that all of us have to go through together in order for us to envision together and to build together. When it comes to the region today and peace, we are sort of trying through all of these aspects of both art, sports, and culture to use any funding that is coming from either EU, West, any and all funding, even local funding that we can find from our municipalities, to sort of try to exactly build on this concept of peace building, youth empowerment, creating third places for young people, using art as a, I don't like the word tool, but using art as a way, as a loophole, as a way for young people to talk about things that maybe they otherwise wouldn't. The aspect of sport as such, of course, is connected with health. This is something that with age, as you age, you sort of realize that this is also, again, yes, important. But the sport aspect of it also helped us really, as well as focus on the health part of it, but focus on the discipline part of it, because very, very necessary. And then culture as such, this is like the broadest concept of it that we are building, because I think we are trying to build a culture of resistance and resilience to what we are being told as young people here. Because these conflicting narratives that you constantly hear and that you have to sort of digest through your system, and that you then try to vomit out and understand for yourself. Building your own culture that is around young people, hip-hop culture that is about resistance, that is about understanding, that is so vast, that can find a way within theater, that can find its way on the streets, that can go to the worldwide competition, that can get funding from a project, that has all of these little layers that it can grow towards, is like I said, like the biggest aspect that we are building from it. And one other thing that I wanted to mention is this concept of cipher. Cipher, as we know, is like it's a circle, and cipher is something that comes from jazz and soul musicians from 1920s. This is something that they use to sort of improvise and to invite each other. So one would play within a circle, and this would sort of tickle the other musician, then he would get in and sort of build upon what the other person did, not crash it down, build upon it, keyword. Yes. So within hip-hop culture, within all of this competitiveness that is happening, that seems to be very raw, that seems to be very aggressive, that seems to be very battle-like, that seems to be all of, again, the negative stereotypes that one would usually think of when it comes to conflict, when it comes to hip-hop culture, when it comes to any of each of these things that I mentioned. Actually, like even philosophically, like a cipher, it's a circle. It seems closed, but a circle is ever inviting. Like a circle spreads. It's like when you drop a stone into a river, a multitude of little circles appear. And this aspect of cipher is something, again, that we use in a multitude of ways. First, personally, for young kids today in practice to build confidence, because the moment you're in a cipher, in a circle, and you have a lot of your peers watching you, and there's music playing, and you're supposed to do something, and you're supposed to, like, everything you learned so far, it's all on this moment. This is, of course, from personal experience and my own anxiety. But yes, I think like the cipher thing, even on a personal level, as well as on this philosophical level, as well as on this cultural level, is something that benefits, and it cannot be separated from building something together, and from sort of inviting another person to speak, to share their truth, to be honest at the end of the day, because that is something that we can start with. So yeah, when it comes to these next few pinpoints that I put for myself, when it comes to healing, one of the notes in the title was healing transgenerational trauma, because our parents and our grandparents lived in, well, actually our grandparents lived in one country, our grandparents lived within two, and then our parents maybe experienced 2 or 3 different countries, and then we today experience this post-conflict society that we have, the term that we use to describe us. So if I were to say that we healed, I think somewhat, yes, but in a sense that this healing process ended, it didn't, it never can. I don't think there can be individual healing without collective healing. I don't think that we can overcome any trauma, any social devastating events that happened anywhere in the world without actually addressing what has happened, without addressing the underlying, and not to be a Jaden Smith here, but like the socio-political context of what is happening, the material basis of what is happening. Like, oh, why did the leaders of former parties now all of a sudden they cherish religion and these identities of ethnicity and, oh my God, nationality? It was created in the 19th century. No, the nation of each of these countries and their nationalities now go way back to the 15th century. You know, like, people didn't know what nationality was then. Like, come on. Like, but these are things that when you constantly hear this, it sticks to you. You think it's true, but like in the true postmodernist way, there is a multitude of them. And what is best thing of all of this is that we can create our new truths, going further. And yeah, so this is like the final slide. I will try to, I think I missed some points, but I will try to merge things here. All of the theory that I sort of learned through university really helped me sort of see the praxis that I did, and it really helped me cherish everything that I maybe didn't cherish within this own community building that we did. Because, you know, like, you're a young person from Sarajevo, you decide to dance with your friends, and you decide to pause university for a few years. You decide to travel the region. You decide to build this dance school. What are you doing? Like, people get jobs and they go, especially like if you're a good student like I was. Like, why did you leave school? I went to law for 2 years. It was awful. So small digression. I hated it. I went to this. Some would say like IR theory, it's not so far away, but actually, when you think about it, it's a whole vaster field that sort of brings a bigger perspective, and that allows for you to see all of these concepts not as closed as like in that positivist tradition, like, yes, this is it and this is how things are and this is how we should observe them. No, again, why are they like this? Why did we do it though? Why? But yes, this theory and praxis part of it was really important for myself, and I think it will be the guiding force for both our whole community, for Sarajevo, for the region, for Balkans, because at the end of the day, young people are the ones that are finding this knowledge all over again, and young people are actually the ones that will have this, and that have within their youth this resilience and revolt that just is, again, natural to you, to one as a young person, but I think should be cherished and should be nurtured, because it can provide a basis for us to build positive peace together, for us to heal together again, because none of these things can happen individually. And the concept of revolt was, again, here important for me, because in hip hop culture, this, of course, contextualizing it, like I said in the beginning, it had that concept of both resistance, resilience, and revolt, because it was against the status quo that was happening. It was against the fact that young people didn't have much, but then they created something, and that something evolved into, I mean, me today from Sarajevo speaking here to you about dance, hip hop culture, peace, community building, overcoming everything that has happened previously in something, in a way that I don't think is brand new. I mean, people have talked about, if anything is political, I think art is, because it makes you question. It makes you uncomfortable. It doesn't allow for you to sit with, or at the end of the day, it asks you to sit with everything that you have been told and then to question it. So yes, with this, I would love to finish, because I see that it's already 10 minutes before 6. This was more of my own story, and also a bit of fresh generation. I mean, a lot of it was fresh. Everything was fresh generation and what we have built. But I sort of tried to present it through, and not to make it too dull, with theory and everything from like uni stuff, but to really try to make it at least to put pretty pictures of everything that we did to make it fun for you guys. So thank you for your attention, and I'm now open for all questions, comments, and yes, concerns. Thank you.